Hi guys, Andy Cheetah here. This is a letter from Cicero to Pompey. I'm going to be discussing just Cicero briefly, his life, and this is going to be a reading of this letter and its general translation. Now, as you guys can see, again, as I said, this is a letter from Cicero to Pompey the Great. Now, in case you guys don't know who Cicero was, he was born into a wealthy family in this place called Arpinum, into an equestrian class. So he was well off. His father did have some connections in Rome, but he wasn't, uber rich. And immediately he displayed exceptional educational achievements both in Rome and Greece. Now, fast forward a couple of years, and then he does his military service under Pompeius Strabo in 89, which sort of marked most of his early years, while his legal brilliance emerged in 81 during the defense of Sextus Roscius, which sort of solidified his reputation at the time. Now, Cicero's political journey commenced as a quaestor in Sicily in 75 BC and progressed through various offices, the usual aedile, etc. Eventually, when he got his consulship in 63 BC. Now, Cicero, out of everything, is most well known for the Catilinarian conspiracy in 63 BC, where he sort of exposed Catiline's seditious plans, solidifying his role as the sort of defender of the Republic. Now, despite his success, Cicero did face political complexities, declining Caesar's alliance and later aligning with the First Triumvirate, which eventually did lead to his exile in 58. Now, having been recalled in 57, so not a particularly harsh punishment, um, but this was marked by Pompey's efforts in 57, which restored him to Rome. Now, the subsequent years, you can see Cicero's involvement in provincial governance, intense literary production, and involvement in political machinations between Pompey and Caesar, and his indecision during Caesar's invasion in 49 BC and the eventual alignment with Octavian showcased the complexities of this political maneuvering. But however, Cicero's political fate took a downturn with the formation of the, I think, Second Triumvirate in 43 BC, which leads to his capture and execution in, I think, the place is called like Caida. I'm not sure, on, 43. Um, Now, the most interesting concept about him is he sort of is this pioneer of the new man concept. Now, compared to much of the Western world and much of the modern world in general, this idea of a new man isn't quite the same. For Cicero, it was more of sort of rising to high political status as a well-off white man individual, because again, during this time, people which weren't regarded as traditionally fit to rule were intensely disregarded. For example, if we take the U.S., the concept of the new man, it was pioneered by people, for example, like Frederick Douglass, who in his speech emphasizes the rights of the African American and how it shouldn't be focused primarily as ambition and not by race. So this idea of the new man is different depending on the time period that you're looking at. But either way, Cicero was this new man, um, and he rose up through his ranks not because he was particularly rich, but because of his skills. He was a philosopher, thinker, etc. Right. Now, as a new man and a man without noble ancestry, he was never accepted by the dominant circle of optimates, and he attributed his own political misfortunes after 63, partly due to jealousy, partly to the spineless unconcern of the complacent optimates. And I think that marks the majority of what I think you need to know about him. Yeah. No, this is again his letter, and the reason why I gave all this backstory is because I think it's relevant to this passage specifically. So this is him writing to Pompey. I got this from Perseus, and the translation is also a link to that. Anyway, I'll read it real quick. So I'm just gonna STEQVBE is if you and the army are well, I shall be glad. Essentially, so I'm gonna start from here. So ex literis tuis, quas publicae missisti, cepi una cum omnibus incredibilem voluptatem, tantam enim spem oti ostendisti, quantam ego semper omnibus te uno fretus policebar. sed hoc scito tuos veteres hostis novos amicos vehementer letteris perculsos atque ex magna spe deturbatos iacere. Ad me autem litteras quas missisti, quamquam exiguam significantionem tuae erga me voluntatis habebant, tamen mihi scito iocundas fuisse. Nulla enim retam laetare soleo quam meorum officiorum conscientia quibus si quando non mutae respondetur apud me plus offici residere facile me patior illud non conciliatura conjectura quesit acte ignores quid ego in tuis litteris desiderarium scribam aperte sicut et mea natura et nostra amicitia postulat. Res eas gesi quaerum aliquam in tuis praetermissam esse arbitror. Um, Pardon me, I believe I skipped sentence. And tuis literis et nostrae necessitudinis et re causa gratulationem expectavi. Quam ego abste praetermissam esse arbitror, quod verere ne quius animum offenderis. Sed scito ea, quae nos pro salute patria gesimus orbis terrae judicio ac testimonio comprobari, quae cum veneris tanto concilio tantaque animi magnitudine, ame gesta esse cognosces, ut tibi multa maiori quam Africanus fuit, mene multa minorum quae laelium facile et en re et amictia adiunctum esse patiare. Okay, that took a while. Sorry for reading all that out. I hope you guys were following along. In general, sorry for any pronunciation mistakes I might have made. It is quite a mouthful, and you sort of get lost while you're reading the lines. Anyway, so I'm just gonna essentially what it says is from the official dispatch I have, in common with everyone else, received the liveliest satisfaction. For you have given us the strong hope of peace, of which in sole reliance on you I was assuring everyone. Now, when he means public letter, essentially it's an implication that it was read by the Senate. There's private letters and public letters. This is, as the name implies, most likely to be more openly distributed by others, and that's important later on in the text. Okay, but I must assure you that your old enemies, now posing as your friends, have received a stunning blow by this dispatch, and being disappointed in the high hopes they were entertaining, are thoroughly depressed. Though your private letter to me contained a somewhat slight expression of your affection, yet I can assure you it gave me pleasure, for there is nothing in which I habitually find greater satisfaction than the consciousness of serving my friends. Super pretentious, but whatever. And if on any occasion I do not meet with an adequate return, I am not at all sorry to have the balance of kindness in my favor. Of this I feel no doubt, even if my extraordinary zeal in your behalf has failed to unite you to me, that the interests of the state will certainly affect a mutual attachment and coalition between us. So he's sucking up to Pompey. I think that's relatively clear from the context. Okay, to let you know, however, what I missed in your letter, I will write with the candor which my own disposition and our common friendship demand. I did expect some congratulation in your letter on my achievements, for the sake at once of the ties between us and of the Republic. Um, Now, this is sort of funny. So Cicero, in general, is kind of not. Well, this first of all, this is largely colloquial language, which is why a lot of Latin isn't too traditional. And in addition to this, you can Cicero thinks pretty highly of himself because again, he's this self-made man, and he thinks that he's much better than most of the people surrounding him. So I think it's mostly reflected in how he speaks to Pompey. Then he says, um, "Yeah, okay, I did expect some congratulation in your letter on my achievements for the sake of once of the ties between us and of the Republic. This I presume to have been omitted by you from a fear of hurting anyone's feelings." But let me tell you that what I did for the salvation of the country is approved by the judgment and testimony of the whole world. So again, really funny. It's sort of just saying that I understand that you didn't write anything but my achievements because he didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I think if anyone else unironically said this, they would be bullied. But yeah, Cicero's just like that. Okay, just finishing it off. You're a much greater man than Africanus, but I am not much inferior to Laelius either. And when you have come home, you will recognize that I have acted with such prudence and spirit that you will not be ashamed of being coupled with me in politics as well as in private friendship. That's the end of the letter. I hope you guys followed along. So in general, I think the reason why I think it relates is because it sort of showcases Cicero as a person, less as a public figure. So first of all, you do see that he is rather pretentious, that he is by political nature trying to suck up to Pompey throughout this entire letter, and also you do consistently see how highly he thinks of himself. Sort of this idea, oh yeah, you don't want to offend anyone else, is mostly absurd given any other context. But yeah, that was the letter from Cicero to Pompey the Great. Yeah, okay. See you guys, and teach you that out.